Alright, hello gamers, Muckluck here, and this is a 10-hour review of First Berserker Khazan. We have been playing this, as I said, for about 10 hours now, and just pausing what we're doing, and going to give our thoughts to help you decide if you think this is a game that would be right for you. Full disclosure, I got a copy for free, because I am a famous internet potato. I was not sponsored or paid or anything like that to do this video. I'm doing it because I want to, and yeah, let's just jump into it. So, what is the game? It is a Souls-like. It has many Souls-like aspects to it. It is also a bit anime, but yeah, not extremely. You honestly, because you're looking at your character's back a lot in combat, you often forget about that until you're talking to like townspeople in town. So if you're really averse to like, you know, weeb games or something like that, there's not a lot of it in this. It's only like when you're zoomed in and talking to the other NPCs and companions, or in like the cutscenes, things like that. So there is that. What platforms is it on? It's on Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS. How's the combat in the game? That's going to be one of the number one things a lot of people ask. The combat in the game, and we'll show a little bit of footage from like the various things. You start off and you have dual wield. Later on, very early, like within the first hour or so, you find a greatsword and a spear. And as you pick them up, immediately skill trees appear for these weapons. You are able to spend points and immediately right-click and unlearn them, allowing you to respec as much as you want. So you can just right-click the things to unlearn them, or hit reset all, and then go and try a different weapon out if you want to. Right now, I am favoring the spear, so most of my points are in spear or in common, which applies to just about everything, like the ability to counterattack and things like that. So the combat itself, as I said, this is on PC also. You can play it with keyboard and mouse or with a controller. I'm playing it on keyboard and mouse, and I play all Souls-likes on keyboard and mouse, and Elden Ring was a bitter pill, let me tell you, although I still enjoyed it. I cleared it, but it was rough on keyboard. This game's great on keyboard and mouse. I'm sure it's fine on controller. Most of these games are designed for controller, but this is totally fine on keyboard and mouse if you fancy that. So just saying that. All right, back to combat. So it's you've got light attacks, you've got heavy attacks, you've got dodges, you've got perfect dodges, which open up other forms of counterattacks. You've got blocking, which drains your stamina in order to prevent taking damage, similar to other games, but I would say the blocking in this game is a bit more friendly than blocking in like Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3, where, you know, you need a shield with really high stats to be able to, you know, not get dumpstered when you block a blow, things like that. If you do a perfect block, you will take less stamina damage if you just like tap it right at that moment. There is also counterattack. A counterattack is not the same as a perfect block. A counterattack is a different button, and the counterattack will attempt to do a very quick parry followed by a blow. And you see there's like a kanji or something in that the little clip there. If you see that symbol, you either dodge the blow or you counterattack. A normal block will not cut it. It will not. You cannot block it. You cannot perfect block it. You use a counterattack for those. There's another thing called reflection, which is a different type of parry. So if you want it, like I didn't take this because at this point my brain was maxed out on the number of defensive buttons. I had counterattack, I had dodge, I had perfect dodge, I had block, I had perfect block. I was like, I can't handle reflection too. So there's another one there. There's that as well. So there is a lot of like, you know, either dodging in and out of combat or blocking and parrying and things like that if you fancy it. The parrying in this game most closely resembles, from the other Souls-like games I've played, Lies of P. You can tap it and do repeated inputs for trying to parry. You can still get trucked during the openings. However, the parry does not have the extended animation, something like Elden Ring does, where it's like your character goes, you know, nyah, and then after like a second, the parry occurs. In this game, the parry, as long as you weren't CC'd or you didn't lock yourself into another animation, the parry is instant. But if you locked yourself, like if you did an attack and then he swings at you, you might not be able to stop your own attack animation to do the parry, you know, that kind of thing. So that's how that works. Additionally, about combat, let's talk about summons. So this game is single player. However, there are spots in the world where you'll find things you can interact with to summon spirits of adversity, which is like a red version of yourself. And if you summon it and you beat it, you will get a lacrima as a loot, and as well as other random loot, gear upgrades, things like that. Gear is very generous in this game, by the way, you get tons of it. And the lacrima can be used to summon gold spirits, which are spirits that can help you during boss fights. You can completely ignore this system if you don't want to use it. I tried it out once, and I decided I wanted a challenge, so I've been fighting the bosses without them. However, you can take lacrimas and turn them into an NPC to buff the golden spirits so that they're stronger, and you use lacrimas to summon gold spirits. So if you wish to take advantage of this system to summon help during boss fights and make that help better and better, you will need to beat up basically copies of yourself as you roam the world and you voluntarily fight these spirits of adversity. Or you could just kill them for the extra loot. That's an option too. Difficulty settings. The game starts off, and the first or second time you die, it will ask you, like a slap in the face, if you wish to turn the difficulty down. In which I was like, no, I'm a gamer, I'm not doing that. I found out later from other people that they turned it down to easy, and it doesn't let you turn it back up to normal unless you start a new game. I don't know if that's true. I haven't verified that. I'm not going to risk it. But the difficulty on normal, I would say feels, again, close to Lies of P. Maybe a little bit easier than Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring, but part of that is because the game doesn't have that clunkiness to it that many Souls-like games has. Like, if you look, like, I can turn on a dime, you know, you don't have, like, that thing where you turn like you're a boat, like those games do. You can turn on a dime, the responsiveness is quite fast, parrying is an instant input, not one with a slight delay, things like that. So if that sounds good to you, that's what this game has got. Let's talk about equipment. So equipment in the game, you will, let me go over to gear here. You'll get the little dot there, just shows that you've picked up something you haven't looked at. As you can see, I've got dual wield, I've got great swords, I've got spears here, and you can use whatever. The stats will be updated as you change your stats. When you level in this game, just like many other Souls-like games, you go to the bonfire and you turn in souls and you use those and you upgrade stats such as vitality, endurance, strength, willpower, or proficiency. Currently I'm using a spear. Spear gains lots of damage from proficiency, which is why I've got that stat high. Endurance is your stamina along with other things, and vitality is lots of health. So if you're using a greatsword, that mainly scales off of strength or willpower, things like that. But every stat gives you some of almost everything, but like vitality will add 1 to your damage, but it'll add 50 to health. Strength will add 3 to your damage, depending on the weapon, but it'll add 10 to your health. Things like that. So I've been going for like a balance, but if you just want to go all unga bunga, that's an option too. So that's how the stats work. As far as the inventory goes, the gear, you can take gear that you do not need to a blacksmith NPC that you will eventually meet. You can salvage it, kind of like Diablo, Diablo 3, Diablo 4, and then you can use the components from the salvage gear to craft more gear if you don't like what you've got. You will occasionally find repeats of the same gear at different levels. If you look, these are both Butcher's Helm. They both give you the Butcher's Set bonus. However, they're different levels, so you can have the same stuff. Like if you find a set bonus you really like, you can keep finding it at different points in the game with higher item level, which is kind of cool. Currently, I am using pay-to-win set. It's basically the deluxe edition, starts you out with some nice armor. I'm just getting to the point where I'm starting to replace it with other stuff after about 10 hours, and just some random items here. Consumables are about what you would expect from any type of Souls-like game. You know, you've got a poison resist potion for the inevitable poison swamp. Thank you, Miyazaki. Netherworld energy, that's just your Estus flask. That's how many heals you've got. Standard stuff as far as Souls-likes go. There is also an additional system in this game, which kind of, let's talk about the story at the same time. I'm not going to try to spoil you. I'm just going to tell you kind of what you learn in the first like 30 minutes to an hour. You're playing Khazan, first Berserker. You and your best friend, your BFF, who is a powerful wizard, go and take down a dragon. You're the hero of the kingdom. This is all the background. This is opening cinematic stuff. For some reason, when you get back, the people are hailing you as a hero, but the Emperor is like, you're a traitor. And you're like, what? And then he does some horrible, horrible wounds to you, locks you in a cage. You're told that they killed the wizard guy. I assume that's true, of course, so why would they lie about that? And you're shipped off to be executed or something. You are trucking along, and then a spirit is like, oh shoot, I need a body, and a spirit jumps into your body and heals you and starts, you know, helping you just roid out, and you start going crazy. Now, you're already a really strong guy. This is the spirit right here. The spirit is a combination of many, many different past warriors' souls. And one of the early boss fights is you fight him for control. It was really good storytelling, really, really awesome. I loved it. And assuming you win, you progress the story and you make a bargain with it. And it's like, all right, look, I came to this world to do a job for the underworld because some stuff is out of order. You help me, and I'll help you get your revenge against the people who wronged you. And your guy's like, deal. Because the spirit was just going to body jack you, but you turned out to be too strong for that, and you fight him off, and so you guys make a bargain. And so this guy's like whispering in your head, and that's the story. And I'll stop giving you more information. Again, that's like the first hour or so. So that's the first Berserker. He was already super strong. He had already had a dragon kill to his name, but now he's got these spirits of past warriors that are juicing him. And there are other systems that make your character stronger besides the usual Dark Souls string that you're all used to. In addition to that, you can choose a specific spirit to kind of like train with, and it'll give you a passive bonus. I'll just show you this one. I'm getting some bonus stamina regeneration from it. And also you get some, as you get vengeance for the spirits, you can get some bonuses down here, like a 3% damage, 3% stamina, stuff like that. Less interesting stuff than the skill tree, but those are permanent bonuses. The skill tree has some very major things that change your gameplay by quite a bit. Okay, so I've talked about the story, I've talked about how combat works. There is 2 difficulty settings. I don't know how easy is. Normal felt a lot to me like Lies of P, maybe a bit easier than Elden Ring, tougher than Steel Rising. The quests in this game are not nearly as cryptic as something like DS3 or Elden Ring. There is a quest log if you choose to use it. For example, if I go up to this thing, this is kind of like a waypoint. If I go up to this thing, these are different areas I can go, but it tells you up there at the top above me, those are some things that you've got unfinished in this area, and you can go there to do them. So it's not as cryptic as like talk to guy and he's like, oh, my lord booger brain, oh, I betrayed you. And then if you don't give him a booger before you kill Bob the builder, then later you find him dead in your house, but he has a sword on his corpse that scales with faith. It's not nearly as cryptic as that. It'll just kind of point you to a general area, and as long as you are paying attention in that area, you'll figure it out, right? It's not bad at all. It doesn't have, you're not gonna have to Google stuff. Let's see, controls touched on that, difficulty touched on that, death system. Death system was really unique in this game. So just like most Souls games, when you die, you drop your souls. I'll just call them souls for simplicity. You drop your souls, and then when you run back and run near them, you automatically absorb them again. You don't have to click on them in a fight. Additionally, if you die in a boss fight, the souls are outside the room, so that if you run back, you'll get them before you enter the boss room, making it very easy to keep your souls even when you're doing boss fight progression, and not having to try to pick them up in the middle of the boss arena. I believe Lies of P did that, if memory serves, and I like that. And again, they just automatically get vacuumed up. You don't have to pick them up. Additionally, as you're doing boss attempts, you will see yourself earning souls for getting past, it's like you get the boss to phase 2 and you'll get like 1,000 souls. It's not an insane amount, but if you keep doing attempt after attempt after attempt, you are getting money or experience. You are earning that while you're doing attempts on the boss, which is awesome. Additionally, you sometimes earn skill points for just like perfect parrying. So I think there's like a XP bar for skill points that I can't see, and it's like every so many perfect parries it levels up, among other things. So sometimes in the middle of a boss fight, I'll see like, plus some souls, plus a skill point, stuff like that. Even though I've wiped on the boss 8 times and I've almost got the kill, but I'm not quite there yet, I've gotten another level up while I've been progressing. It was really nice. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And the last thing is, how's the graphics and how's the sound? We'll play a little bit of gameplay here. The soundtracks for the boss fights so far are incredible. Like, sometimes I had trouble parrying because I was headbanging too hard. Like, it was really, really good. And I don't want to spoil too much of it, but just, it's really good. The graphics are awesome. If you hate the anime stuff, there's only a little of it. But if you like the anime stuff, you might be like, yeah, it's anime Dark Souls, because it's definitely got a bit of that. But yeah, we'll show a little bit on the screen right now. But yeah, really good game. I am very happy with it. Again, just for full disclosure and transparency, I got a copy for free just because I'm a big potato. But I am having a blast, and I am totally planning on continuing to play this all the way to the end, but I'm pausing now, 10 hours in, just to give my thoughts on it. Yeah, I think that's it. And if you've tried the game yet and you've got different questions, problems, thoughts, concerns, you want to put them in the comment section down below just to share it, that's totally fine too. We're not all going to have the same opinion, and that's fine. But hopefully this is enough information that some of you thinking about picking up this game can now make an informed decision on whether or not you're going to spend that money.